As of this writing, I have 10 more years to go to catch up with Don Amici. There's still hope. But who will remember any of us who sing and dance or recite for our supper? We're shadows on a wall, figures from a magic lantern. We disappear at your will. Here's my footprint in the snow. I've been a shit, and I've been unapproachably great. The singer and actress Rihanna once said I was too fine to kill, but I've been walking wounded most of my life. This is a book of scar tissue, the scars I can live with and the scars that I hide. I need to brush up on my Dante, but if you get to paradise only by going through hell, I should be there by now. One more thing you should know. A devastating car accident I suffered decades ago punched a lot of holes in my memory, and this book that you hold in your hands is what's left. I don't need Ancestry.com to learn what fucked me up. I just need to tell you about my father. During the long COVID winter of our discontent and knowing I had signed on to confess my sins in a memoir, I started reading a towering number of books, many of them by people I know. As admirable as many of them were, they all seemed to have sailed the same sea. The abusive childhood, the early, often humiliating years of struggle, great success, and then the pain of fame. To me, the memoirs begged a crucial question. Does there have to be damage for a gem to shine brightly? Is there even such a thing as a nice, kind, benevolent, sweet childhood where you feel safe and loved? Among actors and artists, probably not. Funny, but I never quarreled with being famous or whatever you would call the little notoriety I had. I always loved being famous because it isn't real or meaningful. For me, it was just another form of getting high. The only difference being, the drug is other people and their reaction to you. When I lost that, there wasn't a painful withdrawal. I got used to it pretty quickly. If anything, I got high on the secondhand smoke from my sister Julia Roberts' unimaginable fame and success, but that, as you will see, dear reader, became a darker tale. But there's a happy memory I have of Julia. When she was little, I used to carry her around on my shoulders. She saw her young world from up there, but later, it was her world that held her up and celebrated her as its darling. It's hard when admiration and envy sit down together at the family table. Sparks will fly, and the house may burn down. My parents were Walter Grady Roberts and Betty Lou Bradamus. Why do Southerners always have three names, like felons or serial killers? They were often drinking and depressed, a 1950s couple in an era when drinking and depression were just par for the course. I came out of them. I have that in my DNA, though I basically raised myself. Mom was born Betty Lou Bradamus in 1935. I think she was born in Minneapolis, but I'm not quite sure. Her dad was a football player in college, maybe even early pro, and he was big, over 200 pounds, so they were sort of an incongruous-looking couple, at least in height. When I was a very little boy, Mom once showed me a postcard of a Gatsby-like mansion that my maternal grandmother, Betty's mom, had been raised in. It was now owned and run by the state of Wisconsin as a tourist attraction. I don't know where their money came from, but they had plenty of it until the Great Depression. They lost it all in the stock market crash of '29. Maybe it was a Bradamus thing, but Mom never talked about her original family. I only met her brother, my Uncle Jim, twice in my life. The first time was when I was 5, and Mom and I took a train from Atlanta to St. Paul, Minnesota to visit Grandmother Bradamus, who lived with her brother, my great-uncle Cliff. I remember that was the most exciting trip I could have thought possible. The train station, the uniformed porters all shouting and smiling, offering to help with their luggage. All those grown-up travelers dressed nicely like my mom with someplace important to get to. And, of course, the train. To a little boy who'd yet to travel, the train was magic, big and loud, and going somewhere. I met my Uncle Jim for the first time on that trip. The next time we met 10 years later, it was awkward and sad for both of us. But I'll get to that.